When the Babylonian army left Jerusalem to fight the army of the Pharaoh of Egypt, Jeremiah wanted to travel from Jerusalem to the land of Benjamin. He wanted to be there for a division of some property that belonged to his family. But when Jeremiah got to the Benjamin gate of Jerusalem, the captain in charge of the guards arrested him. The captain's name was Orijah, son of Shelemiah. Shelemiah was the son of Hananiah. So Orijah, the captain, arrested Jeremiah and said, "Jeremiah, you are leaving us to join the Babylonian side." Jeremiah said to Orijah, "That is not true. I'm not leaving to join the Babylonians." But Orijah refused to listen to Jeremiah. And Orijah arrested Jeremiah and took him to the royal officials of Jerusalem. Those officials were very angry with Jeremiah. They gave an order for Jeremiah to be beaten. Then they put him in prison. The prison was in the house of Jonathan, a scribe for the king of Judah. His house had been made into a prison. They put Jeremiah into a cell under the house of Jonathan. The cell was in a dungeon under the ground. Jeremiah was there for a long time. Then King Zedekiah sent for Jeremiah and had him brought to the palace. Zedekiah talked to Jeremiah in private. He asked Jeremiah, "Is there any message from the Lord?" Jeremiah answered, "Yes. He said that you will be given to the king of Babylon." Then Jeremiah said to King Zedekiah, "What have I done wrong? What crime have I done against you or your officials or the people of Jerusalem? Why have you thrown me into prison?" "King Zedekiah, where are your prophets now? They told you a false message. They said, 'The king of Babylon will not attack you or this land of Judah.' But now, my lord, king of Judah, please listen to me. Please let me bring my request to you. This is what I ask. Don't send me back to the house of Jonathan the scribe. If you send me back, I will die there." So King Zedekiah gave orders for Jeremiah to be put under guard in the courtyard. And he ordered that Jeremiah should be given bread from the street bakers. He was given bread until there was no more bread in the city. So Jeremiah stayed under guard in the courtyard. Some of the royal officials heard what Jeremiah was saying. They were Shephatiah, son of Mattan, Gedaliah, son of Pashur, Jeucal, son of Shelemiah, and Pashur, son of Malchijah. Jeremiah was telling all the people this message. "This is what the Lord says. Everyone who stays in Jerusalem will die from war, hunger, or disease. But everyone who surrenders to the army of Babylon will live and escape with their lives. And this is what the Lord says. This city of Jerusalem will surely be given to the army of the king of Babylon. He will capture this city." Then the royal officials who heard what Jeremiah was telling the people went to King Zedekiah. They said to the king, "Jeremiah should be put to death. He is discouraging the soldiers who are still in the city and everyone else by what he is saying. He is not looking for peace. He is just trying to cause trouble." So King Zedekiah said to the officials, "Jeremiah is in your control. I cannot do anything to stop you." So the officials took Jeremiah and put him into Malchijah's cistern. Malchijah was the king's son. The cistern was in the temple yard where the king's guard stayed. They used ropes to lower Jeremiah into the cistern. The cistern didn't have any water in it, only mud, and Jeremiah sank down into the mud. But a man named Ebed-Melech heard that the officials had put Jeremiah into the cistern. Ebed-Melech was from Ethiopia, and he was a eunuch in the king's palace. King Zedekiah was sitting at the Benjamin gate, so Ebed-Melech left the king's palace and went to talk to the king at the gate. Ebed-Melech said, "My lord and king, these officials have done evil. They have treated Jeremiah the prophet badly. They have thrown him into a cistern and left him there to die." Then King Zedekiah gave a command to Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian. This was the command: "Ebed-Melech, take 3 men from the palace with you and go get Jeremiah out of the cistern before he dies." So Ebed-Melech took the men with him. But first he went to a room under the storeroom in the king's palace. He took some old rags and worn-out clothes from that room. Then he let the rags down with some ropes to Jeremiah in the cistern. Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian, said to Jeremiah, "Put these old rags and worn-out clothes under your arms. When we pull you out, these rags will pad your underarms. Then the ropes will not hurt you." So Jeremiah did as Ebed-Melech said. The men pulled Jeremiah up with the ropes and lifted him out of the cistern. And Jeremiah stayed under guard in the temple yard. Then King Zedekiah sent someone to get Jeremiah the prophet. He had Jeremiah brought to the third entrance to the temple of the Lord. Then the king said, "Jeremiah, I'm going to ask you something. Don't hide anything from me, but tell me everything honestly." Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, "If I give you an answer, you will probably kill me. And even if I give you advice, you will not listen to me." But King Zedekiah secretly swore an oath to Jeremiah. Zedekiah said, "As surely as the Lord lives, who gives us breath and life, I will not kill you, Jeremiah. And I promise not to give you to the officials who want to kill you." Then Jeremiah said to King Zedekiah, "The Lord God All-Powerful is the God of Israel. This is what he says: if you surrender to the officials of the king of Babylon, your life will be saved, and Jerusalem will not be burned down, and you and your family will live. But if you refuse to surrender, Jerusalem will be given to the Babylonian army. They will burn Jerusalem down, and you will not escape from them." But King Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, "But I am afraid of the men of Judah who have already gone over to the side of the Babylonian army. I am afraid that the soldiers will give me to those men, and they will treat me badly and hurt me." But Jeremiah answered, "The soldiers will not give you to the men of Judah. King Zedekiah, obey the Lord by doing what I tell you. Then things will go well for you, and your life will be saved. But if you refuse to surrender to the army of Babylon, the Lord has shown me what will happen. This is what he has told me. All the women who are left in the house of the king of Judah will be brought out. They will be brought to the important officials of the king of Babylon. Your women will make fun of you with a song. This is what they will say: 'Your friends were stronger than you, and they led you the wrong way. You trusted them, but now your feet are stuck in the mud, and your friends have left you. All your wives and children will be brought out. They will be given to the Babylonian army. You yourself will not escape from the army of Babylon. You will be captured by the king of Babylon, and Jerusalem will be burned down." Then Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, "Don't tell anyone I've been talking to you. If you do, you might die. If the officials find out that I talked to you, they will come to you and say, 'Jeremiah, tell us what you said to King Zedekiah and what he said to you. Be honest with us and tell us everything, or we will kill you.' If they say this to you, tell them, 'I was begging the king not to send me back to the cell in the dungeon under Jonathan's house. If I were to go back there, I will die.'" It happened that the royal officials of the king did come to Jeremiah to question him. So Jeremiah told them everything the king had ordered him to say. Then they left Jeremiah alone. No one had heard what Jeremiah and the king had talked about. So Jeremiah stayed under guard in the temple yard until the day Jerusalem was captured. I am the priest Ezekiel, son of Buzi. I was in exile by the Kedar Canal in Babylonia when the skies opened up, and I saw visions of God. This was on the 5th day of the 4th month of the 13th year. This was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's exile. The word of the Lord came to Ezekiel. The power of the Lord came over him at that place. I was watching a big storm come in from the north. It was a big cloud with a strong wind, and there was fire flashing from it. Light was shining out all around it. It looked like hot metal glowing in a fire. Inside the cloud, there were 4 living beings that looked like people. But each one of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, their feet looked like calves' feet, and they sparkled like polished brass. Under their wings were human arms. There were 4 living beings. Each living being had 4 faces and 4 wings. The wings touched each other. The living beings did not turn when they moved. They went in the direction they were looking. Each living being had 4 faces. In the front, they each had a man's face. There was a lion's face on the right side and a bull's face on the left side. There was an eagle's face on the back. Their wings were spread out over them. With 2 of the wings, each living being reached out to touch the one near it. And with the other 2 wings, it covered its body. Each living being went in the direction it was looking. They went wherever the Spirit caused them to go, but they did not turn when they moved. That is what the living beings looked like. Inside the area between the living beings, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire. This fire was like small torches that kept moving around among the living beings. The fire glowed brightly, and lightning flashed from it. The living beings ran back and forth, as fast as lightning. I was looking at the living beings when I noticed 4 wheels that touched the ground. There was 1 wheel by each living being. All the wheels looked the same. The wheels looked as if they were made from a clear, yellow jewel. They looked like there was a wheel inside a wheel. They could turn to move in any direction, but the living beings did not turn when they moved. The rims of the wheels were tall and frightening. There were eyes all over the rims of all 4 wheels. The wheels always moved with the living beings. If the living beings went up to the air, the wheels went with them. They went wherever the Spirit wanted them to go, and the wheels went with them, because the power that moved the living being was in the wheels. So if the living beings moved, the wheels moved. If the living beings stopped, the wheels stopped. If the wheels went into the air, the living beings went with them, because the Spirit was in the wheels. There was an amazing thing over the heads of the living beings. It was like a bowl turned upside down, and the bowl was clear like crystal. Under this bowl, each living being had wings reaching out to the one next to it. 2 wings spread out one way, and 2 wings spread out the other way, covering its body. Then I heard the wings. Every time the living beings moved, their wings made a very loud noise, like a lot of water rushing by. They were loud, like the Lord All-Powerful. They were as loud as an army or a crowd of people. When the living beings stopped moving, they put their wings down by their side. The living beings stopped moving and lowered their wings. Then there was another loud sound that came from above the bowl over their heads. There was something that looked like a throne on top of the bowl. It was blue like sapphire. There was also something that looked like a man sitting on the throne. I looked at him from his waist up. He looked like hot metal with fire all around him. I looked at him from his waist down. It looked like fire with a glow that was shining all around him. The light shining around him was like a rainbow in a cloud. It was the glory of the Lord. As soon as I saw that, I fell to the ground. I bowed with my face to the ground, and then I heard a voice speaking to me. The voice said, "Son of man, stand up and I will speak with you." Then the Spirit came into me and lifted me up on my feet, and I listened to the one who spoke to me. He said, "Son of man, I am sending you to speak to the family of Israel. Those people and their ancestors turned against me many times. They have sinned against me many times, and they are still sinning against me today. I am sending you to speak to them, but they are very stubborn. They are very hard-headed, but you must speak to them. You must say, 'This is what the Lord says.' There are people who refuse to obey, so they may not listen to you. But even if they don't stop sinning, at least they will know that there is a prophet living among them. Son of man, don't be afraid of the people or what they say. It is true, they will turn against you and try to hurt you. Their words will be sharp like thorns and will sting like scorpions. But don't be afraid of what they say. They are people who refuse to obey, but don't be afraid of them. You must tell them what I say, whether they listen or not. There are people who usually refuse to listen. Son of man, listen to what I am telling you. Don't turn against me like those people who refuse to obey. Now open your mouth to receive the words I will give you to speak." Then I saw an arm reach out toward me. It was holding a scroll with words written on it. It rolled the scroll open in front of me. Words were on the front and on the back of the scroll. There were all kinds of sad songs, sad stories, and warnings. God said to me, "Son of man, eat what you see. Eat this scroll, and then go tell these things to the family of Israel." So I opened my mouth, and he put the scroll into my mouth. Then God said, "Son of man, I am giving you this scroll. Swallow it. Let that scroll fill your body." So I ate the scroll. It was as sweet as honey in my mouth. Then God said to me, "Son of man, go to the family of Israel. Speak my words to them. I am not sending you to some foreigners you cannot understand. You don't have to learn another language. I am sending you to the family of Israel. I am not sending you to many different countries where people speak languages you cannot understand. If you went to those people and spoke to them, they would listen to you. But you will not have to learn those hard languages. No, I am sending you to the family of Israel. Only, these people have hard heads. They are very stubborn, and the people of Israel will refuse to listen to you. They don't want to listen to me. But I will make you just as stubborn as they are, and your head just as hard. A diamond is harder than flint rock. In the same way, you will be more stubborn than they are, and your head will be harder. Then you will not be afraid of them, or those who always turn against me. Then God said to me, Son of man, listen to every word I say to you, and remember them. Then go to all of your people in exile and tell them, this is what the Lord says. They will not listen, and they will not stop sinning, but you must still tell them my message. Then the Spirit lifted me up, and I heard a voice behind me. It was very loud, like thunder. It said, Blessed is the glory of the Lord. Then the wings of the living beings began moving. The wings made a very loud noise as they touched each other, and the wheels in front of them began making a noise as loud as thunder. The Spirit lifted me and took me away. I was very sad and upset in my spirit, but I felt the Lord's power in me. I went to the people of Israel who were forced to live in Tel Aviv by the Kibar Canal. I sat there among them for 7 days, shocked and silent.